The Bears making an addition to their secondary. Adam Hoge is at Halas Hall. Ben Johnson, some really interesting comments on the pass rush and everything else going on. The CHGO Bears Podcast starts right now. His name is Gardner-Johnson. Shout out Javon Wims and everybody else who remembers that. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast alongside my handy-dandy friend Gregory P. Allen Braggs. We're presented to you by Bet365. It is never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Use the code CHGO365. Get yourself $200 in bonus bets when you make your first bet for $5 after depositing $10. About to go out to Halas Hall where Adam Hoge is standing by for his usual Wednesday domination. Gregory, good to see you.
Let's go. Big basketball day today.
Huge basketball day. I am wearing the Wildcat jersey.
Northwestern and Purdue with exhibition games.
Yeah.
Bulls going for 4 in a row.
Zach LaVine, good old DeMar DeRozan back in town. But that's not why you're here. Let's. Oh my God. Actually, before we go to the Hoge, the Craigulator won out of nowhere with a $100 super chat to start the show. This could be a trend. We'll stop all things if you guys throw $100 at us to start shows. I hope this works out for us. At this point, I have to hope. What does IBWT mean?
In Ben we trust.
In Ben we trust. There we go. Bear down CHGO. I think obviously he's talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson here.
Yep.
Hey, they need help on that. No, thank you, Craigulator. You're the man. Hoge, look at you. At Halas, I'm going to credit you for bringing in that $100 super chat because somehow, some way you contributed to that because of your Hogeness. How's that?
Yeah, well, I'm sure Craigulator agrees with me that, it's kind of unfortunate you didn't mention Connor Bedard's hat trick off the top since you were mentioning all these other basketball things, just the biggest star in the city right now. Right. Bigger than even Caleb. Yep, I said it. That's not true. But behind Caleb, right there.
Yeah, no, that's a huge win for the Hawks. CHGO Blackhawks had a huge show last night. As per usual, they're just crushing, so hope everybody's watching that as well. I'm going to go around the horn here. Steven, you're in on this. Hoge, your thoughts this morning when you saw the Bears adding C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Super Bowl, Eagles, the whole thing, but has the Bears history as well.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think that you can't just sit pat here with what you got going on in your secondary and feel good about it. So action. I like to see action. Show some urgency here with what happened in Baltimore with the amount of injuries that they've had. My big question was, was this sort of a depth signing or is this somebody that they're going to try to get going right away? And obviously they have 2 starting safeties. So with his versatility to be able to play both, it's like, well, a depth safety, that doesn't really make sense. They really haven't had any injuries there. But for Ben Johnson to just come out, and I didn't know if he was going to do that. I don't think he needed to do that. He could have kind of kept the Bengals guessing a little bit, but I appreciate that he straight up said, yeah, we're signing him. He's going to go right in there in the slot corner position. We're going to work him out there and try to get him back up to speed in Dennis Allen's defense as soon as possible because he played 3 years in New Orleans. That's the team that he originally came in the league with, but it's been a few years. He had 2 stints in Philly and a stint in Detroit where he overlapped with Ben Johnson there, obviously on the other side of the ball, but there's also familiarity with the player and some of the other things that come with the player, which we're going to get into here. But just in terms of trying to upgrade at that position, now he's obviously been cut twice already this year, so how much he really has. Look, he's young. He's still only 28 years old. I would think he still has some juice left in the tank, and I got to think he's better than what the Bears were putting out there before, after the Tyreek Stevenson injury kind of shifted everything around and really left them pretty empty-handed in the slot corner spot.
We've got Ben on CJ, but Braggs hasn't spoken yet, and we're 5 minutes into the show, so you need to say something.
Yeah, well, I will shout out Alex Shapiro. I thought he brought an interesting stat to the table on Twitter earlier this morning saying that from 2019 to 2021, CJ Gardner-Johnson under Dennis Allen blitzed 83 times, resulting in 3 sacks and 18 pressures. And when you talk about what we were seeing in terms of looks with Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker and the different fronts they want to show at the line of scrimmage and who they're sending, I think that's going to be something they also utilize with CJ in the slot corner.
So what I like about it, before we get to Ben in 1 second here, is you didn't give up anything. You're talking about a guy who has been productive in his career, and yes, he's got the locker room cancer attached to him a little bit at least, and we'll talk. Ben had some interesting comments on that and the confidence in the Bears locker room, which I enjoyed Ben's angle on it. But rather than trading away a draft pick to add somebody for a position of need, you were able to get somebody off the street who, it is concerning that this is his 4th team on the year, but you're taking a flyer. It doesn't cost you anything, and then there's a familiarity, which is why he's here. So I think it's certainly worth a dice roll. Let's hear Ben on CJ here and what their plan is for him with the Bears.
Yeah, we'll put him. We'll lock him in one spot and have him learn the defense. Obviously he's been with DA, and so he should have some familiarity, but he's also bounced around to a few different other systems over the last few years, and so we'll see how quickly it comes back to him and whether he'll be ready to go this week or not.
Hoge, does that add up? Is that what you expected him to say?
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you the urgency of the situation. I think there's a world in which he starts at nickelback on Sunday in Cincinnati, depending on how fast they can get him up to speed. And if it doesn't work out, okay. I mean, there's no risk to this at all. If you want to nitpick and say there's a little bit of risk of what he could do to the locker room, I don't know. I like what Ben Johnson had to say about that too. I think we have that cut, but his point is basically he's not worried about the leadership they have. And this is somebody that if it doesn't work out, you could do what those other teams did this year and just cut them loose in a week or two.
Right. We do have the locker room comments, so why don't we get to that, Steven? This is perhaps slightly pie in the sky, but maybe not. I mean, Ben's got a better read on what's going on in his locker room than anybody else on the show, I would assume. So this was Ben on how the Bears leadership will handle CJ.
Yeah, well, we've got a very strong locker room. We've got a positive veteran influence in there. I feel very strongly about that group, and nothing's more important than our locker room, to be clear with you. So that's certainly first and foremost of any decision we make, who we bring in or who we let go. And so I think we're all aware of how important that is and the fit that he has with that locker room.
So let's just throw a hypothetical. CJ Gardner-Johnson comes in here and he acts the fool. Who's putting him in line? Who are the leaders that he's talking about? Anybody want to gander a guess on that?
I would start with Al Harris, who's done a pretty remarkable job with the DB.
Well, the locker room though, it's Kevin Byard and who's in the secondary, and Grady Jarrett. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm not worried about that really at all. I don't think this is going to.
Those are two good names.
I don't think some guy's coming off the street here in week 9 to cause a mutiny.
Well, it happened with Claypool. The guy was a problem in there. Out of nowhere, this dude came in and it's like, oh, you don't fit. He just didn't.
But that was a second round pick who you had high hopes for. That you were lucky. Like this, to your point earlier, Carmen, this costs you nothing. You can say goodbye, literally later today if you wanted to.
I would say the league certainly humbles you, and he's on his 3rd team this year, and so if he wants to stick on a team, he's probably going to have to mind his P's and Q's. I think Bears fans obviously remember CJ most notably for getting in a fight with Javon Wims in the regular season, years back, and then that led to another fight in the playoff game against New Orleans, in New Orleans with Anthony Miller. And so those are some of the, things that point to, some of the predispositions people have on CJ Gardner-Johnson. Not only Al Harris, but obviously Ben Johnson talked about his familiarity with him in Detroit, but Dennis Allen has his familiarity with him as well. We actually did have an opportunity to talk to CJ Gardner-Johnson in New Orleans at the Super Bowl.
Watch
this was a little bit of what he said about Dennis Allen. Just curious your perspective on playing under Dennis Allen and what that was like for you.
I mean, he got my career going. I appreciate him. Hope he does great. I think New York, right?
He's in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yes,
so I'm happy for him.
what can players expect in Chicago of the kind of coaching that he's going to bring to them?
Hard, gritty, and ready to work.
How about Greg Braggs going Gardner-Johnson, Dennis Allen? It comes full circle. I think that's one of your greater moments.
Good job.
I mean, come on.
Good job.
Really, seriously.
Good job.
That's what that media night is all about. What team is he with again? New York? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's close enough.
Well, then he goes on to win a Super Bowl there, so that had to have been a nice experience for him. I mean, yeah.
He didn't seem to care a whole lot about it, but he answered
Well,
the
he
question.
was wearing the Sox chain. I thought that was the most notable thing from it. So a little foreshadowing. He was
there
wearing
you
the
go.
Chicago White Sox chain.
He knew
Good
he
choice.
was gonna
I'll
end up- Yeah, he knew
I'll
he was
ask him
gonna end
about
up
that
strong.
here in a couple of hours when we get in the locker room.
Yeah.
See what
There we
that-
go.
see
What
that's all
what
about.
will you ask him, Hoge? What will be question number one?
Why is Carm so worried about you causing a giant problem in this locker room? I'm going to ask it just like that.
I think that's a good question. You could put it at my doorstep.
You know what, guys? Right now, this defense, in all seriousness, could probably use a little CJ Gardner-Johnson, some type of spark, some type of, intensity and rough around the edges. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. By the way, I also don't think we can rule out Tyreek Stevenson coming back this week too. And so, if you could kind of combine those two things together, all of a sudden it can look a lot different than it did in Baltimore, and it's still a tall task to Chase and T. Higgins, but I certainly would feel a lot better about it if Tyreek was out there and somebody like CJ Gardner-Johnson, who has a ton of experience as well, playing out there compared to what they were throwing out there and what we saw on Sunday in Baltimore. Did
Hoge just break news on the show? A little casual Hoge drop that Tyreek's getting better and.
Why is everybody ruling him out? We don't know. We don't know he's out right now.
Let's hope he comes back because the Bears could use him. That's for sure.
Well, I was hoping that you had some like behind the Hoge scenes situation here. Maybe you found out last night for all the sweet people that came out to the Hoge and John's extravaganza on the Riverwalk last night. By the way, thank you to everybody who came out. I'll do that.
Bob Dabrowski told me that Tyreek's coming back this week.
See, that's why we lean on Bob. No. We got one more on CJ from Ben that let's get it all. Let's get the full Ben here on CJ that this is support system period, which Hoge is definitely not worried about, but we're playing it anyway. Talk to me, Ben, about that support system that CJ's got.
All I know is he's a competitive player. I felt that during training camp that year that I was with him early in the season, and then when he came back late in the season, it's the same thing. He loves being on the grass and playing football, and so we'll make sure that we have a good support system for him. He's got a family, he's got kids that are important to him, and so we just want to make sure that we support him the best we can off the field.
Like you, Greg, you've got family and kids that are important to you. Like some people got family and kids that are not important.
Yeah.
Kid, right?
Kid.
Sure, my bad. But you get the point. Hoge, that
Jenny's the one who has kids.
That's correct.
Greg beat the other one. Yeah.
Well, you know why I played that clip for you, Hoge? Mainly, it was for you too, Bochan and Motor Music Michael and Nagy, but mainly for you, Hoge. You know why?
Okay. No, I don't.
Well, because he said he likes being on the grass, and you going out to Halas Hall to cover practice. You like being on the grass. You like being out the grass. It's an on the grass thing. Yeah,
I'm actually missing the grass right now, the football grass, because they're practicing right now. They pushed practice back 20 minutes today, which I thought was interesting. Like their walkthrough ran long, and then Ben was kind of a little late, and then they ended up just officially moving the start of practice back 20 minutes. So it's actually going on right now as we're talking. So we'll see who's back this week. It will be interesting if anybody's back this week. And I think there's also a bunch of other names we'll find out here when the injury report comes out. But remember, Luther Burden dealing with that concussion. Olamide Zaccheaus did not finish that game. Jade Walker was out there on that last drive. So we'll have to see if he's back at practice today too. DeAndre Swift dealing with that groin issue that has been kind of putting him on the injury report, but hasn't cost him playing. It's maybe cost him some playing time, but it hasn't cost him a game yet. So they're banged up, and I have a feeling it's going to be another long injury report with some interesting things that we're breaking down in probably about an hour and a half or so.
Well, hopefully we'll get some good news there. And we are going to pivot the conversation coming back here to talk a little bit about the DJ Caleb chemistry. But before we do that, I do want to just mention serotonin. You're never ignored. Neither are you, Matt Gregory. Every segment here is for you, Gregory. You know this. You too, Dr. Truth, and everybody else. I can't spend the whole show shouting everybody out, but I'd like to.
You could.
I could, but I won't, because that probably wouldn't be good for the mass audience. But for me personally, I would enjoy doing that, but you get the point. All right. DJ and Caleb, Ben talked about that, and the big misplay at the end of the game, which is getting a little too much attention for me. But there is some stuff that was interesting that Ben had to say about that chemistry in general. We'll do that next, but first, hey, shout out to our friends at Bet365. I love talking about our friends at Bet365 because I love making money. I love their Thursday night payout, the $10 safety net bet. I love betting the Bulls tonight. 5.5-point favorite. The Sacramento Kings in town. Little DeMar DeRozan, little Zach LaVine. What about the Bears on Sunday? Still a 2.5-point favorite with that sore shoulder Joe Flacco. And breaking news from Bet365. Right now, you get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. You sign up, use the code CHGO365. You deposit $10. You place a bet for $5. You get $200 in bonus bets to do with it as you choose. Use it on spreads. Use it on totals. Use it on player props. Use it on futures. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. You do have to be 21 or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right. I want to give a shout-out to our good friends over at Arena Club. Ready to level up your collection or get started trading cards? It is coming back. When we were kids, collecting cards was the thing, and now you can do it with Arena Club. Arena Club's original slab packs bring the thrill of ripping packs combined with the power to buy, sell, and trade all in one place. Thinking about the traditional card cycle, you buy a box, rip open the packs, pull the few valuable cards, and then send them off for grading. Weeks later, you finally get them back, and only then you can sell them to shop or online, buy another box, or start another process all over again. Arena Club has flipped that entire cycle on its head. What used to take weeks now happens in minutes. So right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and make sure you use the code CHGO. You won't regret it.
All right. I saw in the comments that somebody else commented on your hair today, Gregory, which I did before the show. Dude's looking fresh as hell. Look at that thing. Just spiked out. Little Brad Pitt-esque.
That's right.
Those eyes. Woof. This guy walking down the street in Chicago, it's trouble. Hey, O'Reilly, I see your super chat for $5. Push practice back to make make time for CJ's up downs. Hoge, you need to find out today if he did up downs.
Oh, he has to. That's Dennis Allen's thing. I don't think that's just a training camp thing. I think when you join the team, you pay the toll.
You pay the toll, baby. Did you do your up downs today?
I did not.
So you do pay no tolls. I need to pay a toll too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ben, what about this DJ Caleb chemistry? Who asked this question, Hoge? I forget. Was this you? It was you, right? Thank you. Right. I mean, look, you've got so much brilliance that sometimes I forget some of your brilliance. That's my bad. All right. So Adam Hoge, our leader, asked Ben about the chemistry with DJ and
he also asked about the final play of the game too.
And the final play. And it was a great Hoge two-part question asking about the final play. So this was Ben. Back to Hoge. Hoge will talk about why he asked this question after this answer from Ben Johnson on the DJ Caleb chemistry.
I think for all of our players to go on the second half of that question, that's always a work in progress. That's why a week of work is so important for us. I think the passing game, it's a continual evolution. You get new routes in each week, maybe some that you haven't thrown since early in the season or training camp, and so you got to make sure you stay on it so that you know where everyone's going to be, and you build that trust and rapport with each other. And so, for that particular play, he's running the back line. He does have the ability to shut it down in an open window. It's a unique look where there happens to be a second level defender in the area that he shut it down. Do I wish he would have stayed on the move? Sure, but I also know at this level that's open, and we have two really good players right there, and we can find a way to hook up.
All right. Did that answer satisfy you, Hoge? And take us through your thought process. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the second part about the actual play definitely satisfied me. I think it's a completely fair point. I think it's confirming what I thought watching the film, and that I was very confused why DJ Moore just sat down right behind Roquan Smith, where in a spot where it was hard to see him, and if he had just kept going, there's a wide open window for Caleb to get him the ball. That being said, these are two good players in the NFL, find a way to make it work. And Caleb maybe was late getting over there because maybe he could have got him on the front side before DJ got behind Roquan, or he could have moved his feet to create a different window, pop it over him. I mean, there was like 10. I don't know. But I agree with the idea that Ben Johnson saying, hey, we still should have found a way to get that to be a touchdown. I completely agree. But the reason why I asked that together is because I think that there's some other spots on that tape where it just doesn't seem like Caleb and DJ are dialed into the same level that Caleb and Rome are. And I'll be honest, even the crazy throw the ball up, lob in the air that DJ caught with one hand down, like if you actually look where DJ is when Caleb throws that ball up, he's not even really aware that Caleb's in trouble yet. And so he makes a great late adjustment. But even on that example where they hooked up for a huge play, it almost seemed lucky the way it worked out, because I did not feel like DJ was totally in tune with the trouble Caleb was in, and he was a little bit late to bail out. I don't know how Caleb knew to throw that ball there in that spot. It was an insane play. And it was a good catch when it was all said and done. But I think big picture, they got to find a way to get these two to continue to work on their chemistry, because there seems to be a handful, maybe not a handful, maybe 2 or 3 reps every single week where you go back and you look at the tape and you just feel like there was a missed opportunity there between the two of them and their connections.
Looks like Nutella's making a really good point here, Braggs. Do you agree that the only anticipated throws that Caleb is going to is to Rome, and then our guy Awesome is agreeing with Nutella? I think this is an interesting part of the chat. Do you guys agree with that? Because
I don't agree with that. The one like kind of deep curl that DJ ran and did a nice job of cutting back in to cut off the DB behind him there. Caleb threw that ball with anticipation. There's actually, for all the issues we might point at in that Baltimore tape, the two things that are not issues to me were his accuracy or his anticipation. I think he's throwing with a lot of anticipation right now.
Yeah, I would say, for all the people that want to say, Caleb needs to stop throwing to Rome. Rome is one of the top players, wide receivers in the league in terms of separation in one-on-one matchups. And if he's your first read and he's getting separation and he's open, throw him the ball, right? I mean, that's we don't need to overthink it. That being said, it's clear over the last year and a half that it hasn't come together the same way it has, for DJ and Caleb that it has for others. I see somebody else in the chat saying, oh, he only can throw to Rome, or he can only throw to one guy and that's it. Well, last year he built a pretty decent chemistry with Keenan Allen too. And we've seen the trust build with Olamide Zaccheaus through training camp and early in the season, who's gotten a high amount of targets, even though the production might not be where maybe they were hoped it would be. That being said, DJ is a talented wide receiver, but there is some sort of disconnect at times, so much so that you've got Ben Johnson trying to scheme him plays that are screen passes, stuff that would be in his arsenal, but also putting him in the backfield as a running back, which I think all of us are kind of ready to put to bed at this point. But it has not clicked for DJ and Caleb the way it has for others.
So it is interesting when you bring Keenan Allen back into it. because he did develop great chemistry with Keenan. I think they were the closest last year. And then now he's got it with Rome. And to partly your question and what you're underlining right now, it's like you would think that it would have been there with DJ, and it just, for whatever reason, to the level that DJ and Justin have, they have not. He has not hit that with Caleb. So
would you say, Hoge, that I think the bigger issue with Caleb is finding comfortability in zone looks as opposed to man-to-man looks, and maybe that's where Caleb needs to take that next step, is identifying zone coverages and feeling comfortable. That to me is where I think the disconnect still is with Caleb trying to take that next step.
Well, maybe a little bit. I don't know that I look at that like a major problem, though. I know his numbers against man have been pretty good, but I'm not looking at the tape going, he doesn't know what he's looking at in zone. What I think it's a little bit more refined than that. I think, but this is exactly what we're talking about with DJ. So when we talk about him running the back line in the end zone and understanding the windows to sit down in, so that your quarterback, who, by the way, is not tall and is already dealing with that deficiency that he's always dealing with, you got to give your guy a visual of a passing lane. I just think that's. I know, Carmen, you said it's getting too much attention. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know that it was going to change the game, but I just think it's a very good example of whether it's some of these choice routes that they're letting OZ run or Colston Loveland run. I'm surprised we're not seeing more of that with DJ Moore. And I'm wondering if it's just because there's that sort of that lack of trust in those situations of where he's going to sit down in zone, or if he does have a choice route, which way he's going to go. Because to install those into your offense, you need to be on the same page. And we are seeing him on the same page with Olamide Zaccheaus and Rome Odunze, and sometimes with DJ, but it's not as consistent.
Okay, if you're going to bring it out that way, I would grant you the point, Hoge, that maybe we should be talking about it as much as we are, even more than we are, because it's not just that one play. It's more of I don't know if systemic is too tall of a word, but something that just needs to – if the Bears' offense is ever going to hit the level that they want it to hit, this has got to get fixed, bottom line.
Well, and go back to Ben Johnson's – we didn't really talk about the first part of Ben Johnson's answer, which was more about the chemistry in my question.
That's the part that resonated with me the most. Did you notice that Carm would?
Well, go ahead and say what you want to say, because I felt like he didn't really answer it.
Well, he said that there are new stuff coming in each week. That's why you have to be on your P's and Q's. I don't know who he's talking to, but I think I have an idea who he's talking to. I mean, maybe it's to both of them, but to me, that's like there's new stuff coming in every week. You're the QB, and you got to be on it. And it's not going to, and we're going to be, it's part of the, that's part of the
But doesn't that apply to Rome? Doesn't that apply to Rome and OZ too?
Well, maybe so. Maybe he's talking, he could be talking about everybody. But that to me stuck out. Like, hey, new stuff coming in every week. Better be on your stuff, period. I mean, that to me sounds like he's not satisfied that whoever it is really knows the offense, the play sheet going into that week like they should. Am I going too far? I don't think so. Anybody want to push back on that?
Maybe. I'm struggling to understand how the details seem to work when he's throwing to the other guys, but not DJ.
So maybe he's just talking about DJ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess my point is I don't know if it's fair to put that on Caleb.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
we'll see how this continues to go, but something seems to be off there.
Yeah, whoever it is, he's a little bit. He looked, as somebody put in the chat earlier, he looked tired. Like I think the dude's been up for a long time trying to figure this out.
Are you talking about Ben?
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah,
You felt that too?
Yeah, I tend to agree. He was not the same jovial Ben Johnson today, and it seemed
pissed.
like, again,
they lost. We're all pissed.
Walkthrough went longer. Practice got moved back. I think I'm assuming they're just trying to get all this fixed today. It's a busy back to work Wednesday, right? And Ben's trying to come up with solutions.
Right. And look, he should be bouncing around. Joe Flacco's got an AC joint sprain, whether 50-50 on whether he'll play or not. And Jake Browning's been one of the, hasn't exactly lit it up this year. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So, I mean, he should be like bounding. This is a perfect week for us. That team's pathetic in the red zone. We should be scoring touchdowns like nothing. But, he's worried about his own house.
Regardless of what's going on with Joe Flacco in the quarterback situation, I'm sure Ben is more concerned with Trey Hendrickson's status, and they're already a pretty tough defense with Trey. They don't have him, this, regardless of what happens with the Bengals quarterback spot, this does really feel like a week where the offense should feast, and there might be whatever panic everybody was feeling Sunday night and into Monday morning. If it's not a good week offensively, I think that panic might rise exponentially, because this just feels like it's set up for a week for Caleb Williams, for DJ Moore, for Rome Odunze, for all these guys to have a big game. Now, what happens defensively and what they're able to do trying to stop Jamar Chase and all that, it might end up being a shootout. But offensively, you got to do your part. You got to come up with these solutions. You need to play better overall.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to give Bears fans any solace, because, it was last week, could be playing a backup quarterback in Baltimore, a defense that was statistically one of the worst in the league. So it does kind of have some mirroring going on here this week.
This is why I recommend you guys lock in the CHGO Bears 5 days a week, Hoge and Johns 3 days a week, because there was somebody on this panel that kept trying all week long and kept getting ignored, trying to tell everybody that Ravens defense was better than what the stats suggest. I am not doing that this week with the Bengals.
But so Ben said that their secondary is young and getting better. So maybe you might consider that by the end of the week. By the way, shout out to Hoge. I got a couple shout outs before you get to go. One, shout out to Kevin Fishbane for his piece in The Athletic. He underlined the numbers here. Past 4 games, wins over the Cowboys included. Since their win, after the Cowboys, so Cowboys not included. Bears are 5 for 16 in the red zone. Torian, you put that stat in the chat today. 4 for 8, 50% when it's goal to go. That ain't good enough. But then he reminds everybody the Bengals are 32nd in total defense, 32nd in rushing defense, 30th in passing yards allowed, 31st on third down, 30th in the red zone. Those are not good numbers. So let's go.
Which is why you either get this fixed this week, or then it looks like more of a problem for your team. Yeah.
So, all right, shout out Fishbane. You want to comment on Mercedes Lewis being back in the NFL? You've always been a big dog guy. He's on the practice squad in Denver, the 6-2 Broncos.
Well, shout out to ALLCITY breaking that news. Our very own Zach Stevens from DNVR was the one who first reported that Mercedes Lewis was coming back. Good for him, man. He's just keeps going. He'll be, if he plays in a game, because he just got signed in their practice squad, but if he gets elevated and plays, be the oldest tight end to ever play in the NFL. That's cool. It's good locker room presence. Yeah. I don't think he's going to have a giant role there, though.
No, but shout out to
a giant person.
Shout out to people who just keep going in life.
Well, if he did get a snap, they said, right, that he'd be the oldest tight end in NFL history.
I heard it, Hoge.
Thank you, Steven.
It's okay. Hoge just said that. It's all right. You were
locked in.
You were locked in your own way to whatever podcast you were listening to. What about Halas Jones moving around the NFL, going west coast now a Seattle Seahawk? Hoge.
I got power rankings to work on. I got to go eat my lunch. ALLCITY power rankings coming out tomorrow morning. I all due respect to Halas Jones, a fine draft pick of the Chicago Bears. I don't have a comment on that right now.
Are you going to congratulate me before you go, or no?
Did you beat Kirschenbaum?
That's correct.
Oh, I was just confused because I thought you were talking about our ping pong battle a couple days ago where I smoked you. But congratulations on the rematch yesterday, which you did say was to get you prepared for Kirschenbaum. So I feel like I deserve some of the credit for getting you ready for that match last night.
You do. We're a team. You're on board.
Yeah.
You're part of my support staff, like CJ Gardner-Johnson support staff. Braggs,
What's up?
I know you've got something else going on, but you want to say goodbye to Adam and also congratulate me?
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Hoge, great job today. Phenomenal job last night. I talked to at least one person who was there, and they had the greatest time ever, said it was beautiful. Incredible job hosting. Bears fans had a great time, so shout out to you and Johns and Jake Flanagan and Stephen Nicholas and whoever Crystal was supporting in some ways. I'm sure everybody was out there last night.
She was right there in the front row. The Hoge family came out. The Johns family came out. Shout out to Mike over there at Chicago Brew House on the Riverwalk. It really, I had been there before, but I kind of, as much as I was picturing it being like a beautiful setting for us to do a show, it like blew us out of the water. It was awesome. So thank you for everybody that came out. We're going to get more of those done, but it was fun. And thanks, Steven and Katie and the whole crew. Emma was out there. We had a lot of help. Big Dave came out.
Big Dave.
Jake was there. So it was a good crowd, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you very, very much. We'll do another one soon.
And it is true that Carman Braggs were not invited because it was such an elite location that they didn't want us to dumb it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, keep the swill out of there.
Yes.
So that's the way it went. But we'll be at the next one no matter where it is, even if it's at like, you know, I don't know, on a yacht. I feel like the next Hogan Johns meeting will be on some yacht that like tour Lake Michigan. It'll be amazing. And we're going. Mm-hmm. All right. Shad Khan's yacht. We're going to bring it over from London.
You act like we haven't done an event on a boat before. We have in London.
I forgot about that for a minute. Now I'm back in London, and we taunted Shad Khan's yacht. That happened too. From our boat.
And it worked. And it worked. The Bears killed him.
We took him out. All right, go do your stuff. We'll hear from Caleb later today. We'll be putting that out in the old Twitter sphere, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Great job, Adam Hoge.
Bye, guys. Have a good rest of your show.
Thank you. We're talking pass rush coming up next here. A little bit more Ben, some interesting stuff, just straight answers on Dio and Sweat. Ben ain't mincing words today. I enjoyed it. So that is next. But first,
got to give a shout out to our good friends over at Factor Meals. Just got my shipment in yesterday. The grilled chicken burrito bowl was phenomenal.
Fire.
More variety, more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. Support your wellness goals, enjoy even more GLP friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. For the first time, try Asian inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. So eat smart at factormeals.com/CHGO50 off and use the code CHGO50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code CHGO50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
free breakfast for you is sweet. I love when you go global. And I love our friends at Monarch Money. What's up, Monarch Money? Monarch Money is built for people with the busy lives who want to get their financial life in order. Look, everybody puts off organizing their finances. I know I do. And I know that I feel a whole lot better now that I have Monarch Money in my life because they do the heavy lifting for you. They link all your accounts in minutes, and then you're going to see exactly what you're dealing, where you spend your money. Oh, I'm going to make that change, and I'm going to feel better about the money that is in my account. I know that everybody is worried about that nowadays. So look, Monarch Money, by the way, just a reminder, not just another finance app. It is the best budgeting app of 2025, named by the Wall Street Journal. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code CHGO at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the code CHGO. You can even give access to your financial advisor at no extra cost. Love our friends at Monarch Money, monarch.com. And Flacco, No bathroom break today, buddy. Just holding strong here. Didn't even move. Went pregame, but, I can't get enough time with you today, Gregory. I know you enjoy that bathroom break more than I do. Thank God he's gone for a minute.
You could take a picture in the bathroom. Like you've done now multiple times in the last month.
I have. Hey, on that note, why don't we take the temp? Sponsored by our friends at Four Seasons. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That is fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. They're the best. Check them out. And check out the Bears pass rush. I think we should actually go right as we take the temp here, and we all know that the Bears pass rush, the temperature is cool. It is, I don't know. You want to make it, is it ice cold? Is it 8 degrees? Or do you want to give it in like a 42 after Montez Sweat? They got 2 sacks last week.
What's cooler than being cool?
What's cooler than being cool? I don't know.
Ice cold. Come on, guys.
Ice cold. So you think it's ice cold?
It's ice cold.
Ice cold. All right.
That's a song reference.
Do you know that song reference, Steven?
Not a chance now.
Come on now.
You want to sing it for us? This is slightly a Carm level tangent turn, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, you never heard? Yeah, see, Sandman's got it in the chat.
Okay. I mean, you guys are cooler than...
See, Phillips got it. Ice cold.
Okay, my bad. I'll learn that after the show. By the way, there's a new song coming on tomorrow's show. Be here for tomorrow. The whiteboard is going to the new level tomorrow, hopefully.
Thank you, Eric Bochen. Black Eyed Peas. Very good.
Well, sing it so I'll know it then.
What's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. All right. Now, ladies.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Good job. More Bragg singing on the show. Who's in? I need another bathroom break commercial moment here so I can go get my harmonica, which is not on me today. Bad job by me. All right, back to taking the temp. Thank you. And the sacks, we're going to go with 8 degrees, generally non-existent, not enough. This was Ben on the pass rush and what he's seeing from his 2 edge defenders in Dio and Montez Sweat.
We've got to capitalize on the opportunities when guys get one-on-one on a tackle or on a guard, and that's really what it comes down to. If it's a play action, then we got to transition to rushers fast. Last week in particular, we didn't build a lead on that team. We allowed them to keep the running game going. We had a strong emphasis going into the game of stopping that running game, and so as that game went on, they were able to live in that movement and play action world, which makes the pass rush a lot more challenging, all in all. And so I do think when you look at our third down numbers, I do think that's indicative of how our pass rush, maybe not from a sack perspective, but from a pressure perspective, has been able to influence the quarterback and affect him. Not everyone agrees with this statement, but the hits and the pressures are equally important to me as the sacks are. And so I would love to be leading the league in sacks right now, but affecting the quarterback is really important for us. And when I look at those true drop back situations, that's what I'm looking at more than anything, is how much are we affecting the quarterback.
So there's a lot in there, and I'll play you in a second, just specifically the Montez and Dio part. But I thought at the start, he just didn't hold back at all. We got to win our one-on-ones. When you get somebody, if you're not double teamed, I expect you to beat your dude. That's why you get paid the big bucks. And they're not doing it enough.
They aren't, and you can tell his patience is wearing thin. And you can know Dennis Allen's is by the way that they have been sending guys, from the secondary, in the backfield to try to help out, with some of these one-on-ones and get this offensive line kind of looking a few different ways. Opens up some things for Montez Sweat, who's gotten a couple strip sack fumbles since the bye week, but it just has not been good enough. It's been as big of a concern as it was in the summer. It has come home to roost here in the regular season.
Right, and I do like how look, sacks are cool. I'd love to have them, all of it, but. And it's not, he's not lowering the bar, but we at least have to be impacting the quarterback. Hit hit the QB, make him uncomfortable, which will be huge this week. If Flacco is Johnny, get rid of the football if he plays, but making him at least a little bit uncomfortable if they can do it, rather than he's just sitting there for his 3 seconds and slinging it to Chase, that would be a nightmare. But here, this was specifically on Montez and specifically on Dio.
I think Sweat has started to ascend over the last few games. I'm pretty pleased with how he's playing. Dio has been really good as an interior rusher, and I thought he played a really strong game last week in the run game. It was his best game yet this season. But on the edge, we're still working on that.
Bang, bang. Still working on that on the edge. I don't know. We're midway through the season. I don't know.
He definitely was as nice as he could be there to Dio without taking a direct shot, a direct hit at him. Yeah, he's been better on the inside. Still need more on the edge. Like that's calling it out as best you can if you're Ben Johnson, and rightfully so. I mean, Dio Dangbo has been a huge disappointment here, and it felt like at camp he was getting picked on by the fan base because we sat there at training camp going, trying to be fair to this, but we're not saying Dio Dangbo's name too many times as we leave practice at Halas Hall. And then all of a sudden the regular season starts. He has this phenomenal first half, against the Minnesota Vikings. And where has that Dio Dangbo been? Because we need it. And they pay, Ryan Poles paid this guy $30 million to come in here and make an impact. And it just has not happened on the edge. And his one-on-ones, there is many times where I'm seeing this guy get completely shut down and shut out of the play. And, Ryan Poles took a swing here, and right now it looks like a swing and miss.
That's exactly right. At the end of the day, look, you identified someone that you thought was going to bust out as he enters the prime of his career. And I would just throw in there, too, in the interior of the Bears D-line, it's not like he's getting no help. I mean, Billings has played halfway okay, maybe even more so than that. Like, my point is that if you're getting a big push up middle, up front, then you should be able to impact from the edge.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's been elite up front, but it's not non-existent. I don't know, Stephen, where are you at on this?
I mean, for me, I think to tie this entire thing full circle for this entire show, CJ Gardner-Johnson, the most pressures he generated in his career was his first 3 seasons in the league, all of which were under Dennis Allen with the Saints when Dennis Allen was the defensive coordinator. And in those 3 seasons, the position he played primarily was a slot corner, where we heard today that's where CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be playing. Maybe they're bringing him in not just to help, cover wide receivers, but maybe there's going to be some usage here on blitzing, something that we saw Kyler Gordon excel at in the first several seasons of his career.
Well, there's no doubt they have to get creative. I mean, he can talk about all he wants, like we got to win our one-on-ones. Well, at some point, like they're not going to win their one-on-ones. So what are you going to do?
I will agree that Dio Dangbo in this last game against the Ravens did a good job of setting the edge. There was a few times where they're doing that read option or RPO, whatever you want to call it, and Tyler Huntley's keeping it and taking it to the outside. And I thought Dio Dangbo did a great job of setting the, and they're going to need that because Shamar Turner and losing him and his versatility and a guy they were putting on the outside who did show some physicality you no longer have. I did see, Statler, in the chat saying, I mean, you're going to overpay in free agency. Was anyone better? We missed on. That kind of takes away from the point. They didn't have to pay that money. You could allocate that money somewhere else for the type of production he's getting. You could, all due respect, get somebody off the street and get that same type of production. I mean, I know the New England Patriots just traded away Keon White.
The Bears are going to get some of that back right now with Austin Booker, who was activated. And, having him on the edge. I mean, they traded back into the draft to select Austin Booker. When they did that last season, I assumed that meant that they saw a role for him. It was a little bit of a developmental project, but coming into year 2, I was expecting a little bit more usage from Austin Booker, and I think we might start seeing it now.
Yeah. Let's hope. I mean, Austin Booker is a guy that Bears fans have kind of, glorified. Maybe glorified is too strong a word, but somebody that everyone's been very hyped on. And he's shown in the preseason last 2 years. Now this year I think he showed a little more power, not just the speed that he showed in his first preseason, led the league in sacks, in the preseason this year, with a little bit more of a combination of power and speed, but hasn't been out there. He's going to get his opportunity here on this, this Sunday, and let's hope he can make an impact.
I mean, the two guys that were picked right after the Bears took Loveland, Michael Williams and Kenneth Grant, they've got as many sacks as Dio Odangbo, which is 1. Grant's got 1.5. So I mean, there's a lot of ways they could have done this. This is the way they did it, and it's they're tied into Dio for next year too. So it's and by the way, Dio, I think Dio wants it. I think Dio will continue to work. I think Dio, at least when I've been in the locker room after games, and he hasn't performed, he looks to me like visibly disappointed that it didn't go better. So I think there's a lot of caring going on there, and there obviously is talent too, but maybe his best spot is just going to be in the interior.
Well, I think that's his best attribute is that he has versatility and you can move him inside and out. They have a few guys on this roster you can say the same thing about. So, it'll be interesting. I do wonder to myself at times now that Shamar Turner's out, a guy that they started on the inside, had him outside for some different things, actually got more than they thought. Maybe they try that a few times with Jervon Dexter now, who I think fits the mold of what Dennis Allen likes on the edge. So I think they have some different options here, but it'll be interesting to see what they decide to roll.
Well, it also underlines the creativity. Oh, this guy Turner is now as effective on the inside. Let's put him on the outside. Let's move Dio on the inside. I'm giving Dennis some credit here for the way he's moved stuff around to try to get the most out of the defense. And they didn't lose last week because of the defense, even though
no,
they gave up 30, but
the offense had to hold up their end of the bargain at some point. Yes, they ended up giving up 30 points, but that's because the offense spent all day not getting in the end zone.
Right. All right. NFL news today.
I will say everyone's yelling at us because
why are they yelling at us?
I shouted out Eric Bochan for getting the song right, saying Black Eyed Peas was Outcast. Regardless,
we got the artist wrong.
Yeah, we got the artist wrong. It's Outcast.
Minor detail. These things happen. What we won't get wrong is that the Lions did extend Aiden Hutchinson, their edge rusher, who's been dominant and a half since he came in the league. He gets a 4-year, $180 million extension, 141 guaranteed.
45 a year.
That is 45 a year. Second in the league behind Micah Parsons, 46.5, both in the division. The guarantee is the highest among non-quarterbacks, though, at the 140. So, pretty incredible for him. The dude had a horrendous injury last year, fractured his tibia and fibula, the tibula-fibula combo in week 6. A year later,
right,
he's killing everybody.
Well, there was a lot of question of how he was going to return from that injury, and then there was video of him in the offseason, and people questioning if he was going to be able to get back to what he was, and he has, and he deserves a lot of credit. He deserves every bit of that money he's getting. He's going to terrorize the Bears for a long time.
6 sacks this year, 29 pressures. That's second behind Parsons. He's got 4 forced fumbles. He's got that look. The dude's he's got a little bit. He sort of looks like you turned up. If they painted your face and put you in the middle of the tailgate, you got a little Hutchinson in you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the Lions in general, because everyone loves a GM who extends their players, makes good decisions. They've extended Goff. They've extended Amon-Ra. They've extended Jamison Williams. They've extended Penny Sewell. They've extended Aline McNeil. They've extended Kirby Joseph.
Got a good team over there.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that you're drafting well. It shows that you're taking care of your business. It shows that you're not, in this case, okay, this is the going rate. What's it cost to sign you?
If you had to take the temp of how Lions fans feel about their GM versus how Bears fans feel about theirs.
Not
the temp
a wide difference?
There's a big difference.
Yeah. I'm still sort of just wrestling with, because Pole's approval rating was pretty damn high for a long time, and now it's kind of, I don't want to say the direct opposite, but it's a significant drop.
Yes. Because of Dio Dangbo. I'll always say, I've been a Ryan Poles defender at times on this show more than a few times. But I'll always say my biggest gripe I've ever had with him was the coaching decision 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't expect a GM to bat 1,000 when he picks players in the draft or in free agency, how you build a roster. But the coaching decisions over the last 4 years have been so obvious, and to miss the way they had, to be able to get Ben Johnson in here, Ryan Poles is very fortunate because, the offensive coordinator decisions, hiring Matt Eberflus to begin with, and then keeping him when you knew you had the number 1 pick. You had an opportunity to bring a head coach in here that could be a part of the evaluation process of who you select with that number 1 pick. Everybody keeps talking about Jaden Daniels or Drake May or whoever, to leave that decision with Matt Eberflus in that room was such an obvious fail. And now Ben Johnson is here to pick up the pieces a year later, which is why we, all as fans and analysts and whoever, have to have some patience on how this process now had to get reset after a year of Caleb Williams in a Chicago Bears
It's one of the most elite things for all Bears fans. We are great at patience. We love a good patience.
Well, I think Ben Johnson has created that patience, for Bears fans, because
that's true.
We do see now the light at the end of the tunnel with Ben Johnson. So I'm grateful he's here, and I think we're all kind of like, okay, stay the course. In Ben we trust. You saw it earlier here in our chat.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we're at right now as a fan base.
Okay, Steven, flip the screen just off of Greg because I can't just look at him. It's just too much.
My bad.
It was too long. All right, I got a new segment. You ready for this one, Gregory? I'm sorry I didn't warn you about this.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't vetted this, so I'm not gonna say I'm ready for it because I don't know what you're about to do to me.
You're gonna like it. It's about you. This segment is called Greg Remembers.
Well, before we get to, okay, go ahead. I'm kidding.
We got time.
All right, we got time.
It's a new segment. Thank you, Steven. Greg Remembers, because there literally is there's nothing that you've ever forgotten about.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers?
It's another. Thank you.
Okay, Greg remembers because you don't forget anything since you came out of the womb in your Bears watching career. And I want you to remember the moment in time with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Javon Wims. So let's see how good you are. What quarter did the fisticuffs ensue? What quarter?
It was in the second half.
Good.
But
you got
was
two
it
options.
Third or fourth quarter? I'm going to say third.
It was in the third quarter. Greg remembers.
Dang.
1 for 1. All right. Now,
and what was great about that was Javon Wims should have been suspended by Matt Nagy, who's, in our chat, parody account at least. And then he didn't. And you needed to set a tone as a coach. Right there was your moment to pick on Javon Wims, to make the example that we don't act like this on a football field. And that, by the way, 2 of the softest swings. Like, you had an opportunity to go at Gardner-Johnson, and you missed on the first swing, Javon. I mean, and then you don't bench him. You don't punish him for it. And then 2 months later, they're playing in the playoffs. Anthony Miller repeats the same mistake, and Javon Wims drops the biggest catch of that game, flea flicker, for a touchdown. So that's what you get for not instituting, a standard.
Okay. On that note, it is important to remember to become a diehard, because this chat can continue in our Discord. I had an incredible conversation in Discord this morning as Irish Bears Network was not thrilled with me yesterday, along with a bunch of other of you, for questioning the work ethic of the quarterback, which I was trying to do in a not so super serious way, but whatever. Doesn't matter.
Become a diehard and whatnot.
Become a diehard and whatnot. Get yourself a free T-shirt. Get yourself discounts to all our events. Get in the Discord so we can continue this conversation all day long. Hang out with Bears fans. It's amazing. And Yeah, we appreciate everybody. Also, look at the sweet T-shirts that we got on the Hoge and Johns collection. I mean, there's a hoodie in there. Look at that CHGO on the bear. I mean, who wouldn't want that thing? That orange T-shirt's sweet. I like the blue one too. A lot of good stuff here. Hoge and Johns, our premier podcast. Shout them out.
Let's go.
You like that? There we go. All right, now Greg remembers continuing part 2. Who was the quarterback and who did he throw to on the play that C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Javon Wims threw down? Because that, if people remember, they were just off to the side, and all of a sudden fisticuffs were throwing. Who was the quarterback and who did he throw to on the play? Greg remembers.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles is the quarterback. That's one.
And then what was the other question? Nick Foles was the quarterback. That's what you asked.
I said, who was the quarterback and who did he throw to?
Who did he throw to?
Yeah. I want to be in your brain just for one day just to see what goes on in there.
Well, it'd be a lot of stressing about you, for one.
Yeah, I know. All the things, I probably wouldn't survive. I'd probably kill myself. Go ahead.
Who was the receiver he was throwing to?
You want a hint?
Yeah, it wasn't Willie Gault.
It was not Willie Gault.
Yeah,
it was
I'll
not
take a hint, I guess. Mercedes Lewis?
Mercedes Lewis in
No.
2020? No.
I'm
You're
sorry.
better than that. This was a primetime guy.
Primetime. Allen Robinson? Bang.
Greg remembers. Bang. Again. Little. Now, one more question for you, Gregory. Greg remembers Javon Wims, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, newest Bear, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Hold on a second. I had something here that in my notes. Who was... Oh, that's what I want to know. Did the Bears win the game?
Against the Saints.
Yes.
I guess the way you're asking it, the answer is yes.
The answer is no.
Okay.
It's okay. A lot of losses.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea what the final score was?
No.
It was a 26-23 OT loss. Javon Wims.
Loss or win?
Loss.
They lost.
Loss.
Okay.
Loss. They lost. They did not win.
Okay.
But they did win today. You know why?
Why?
Because they added a player with no risk and got something to prove. He's got coaches that know him. It's a good swing, man. Good swing.
Good swing.
If it works, I'm not saying it's going to work out, but I'm not saying it's not going to work out.
I agree, Rogue Agent. That segment sucked.
I disagree. I think Greg remembers. Well, Sarah, did you like Greg remembers? Okay, Sarah didn't like Greg remembers either. That was a new segment for us. That was Greg remembers, and we talk about a time in the past. Mm-hmm. It has been okay. I thought I saw a couple smiles.
Well,
Steven, what do you think? Greg remembers.
What I remember about that season.
It has the potential to be your best work ever.
Okay, great.
Greg's got
What
it.
I remember about that season was everybody was saying that Foles should start over Mitch to start the year, and I said Mitch was going to start over Foles.
All right, we don't need the
That was
Sylvian
correct.
argument.
And then they benched Mitch 2 or 3 games into the year for Foles. Then Foles melted down, so then they benched Foles and went back to Mitch. And then somehow they made the playoffs. Then Mitch won Nickelodeon Player of the Game.
You know, Greg remembers. This is good remembering by you right now, but I do kind of like Rogue Agents, despite the fact that Rogue Agent loves coming at me on the nonstop. But Greg guesses is not a bad look there. Although Greg, that's actually Rogue Agent. That's not fair. This dude knows more than anybody. Bo Chanton, though, for the win. Did Gardner-Johnson get into it with Anthony Miller in that game also? Didn't he? Yes, he did, Bo Chanton. You're absolutely right. That was one I debated throwing that into the Greg remembers, but I just left that out.
Well,
So,
it was in the playoff game. That's why that just was a microcosm of Matt Nagy's tenure in Chicago, was that They literally, the week leading up to the playoff game, they were like, hey, everyone, remember you got in a fight with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Do not do this in this game. He will antagonize you to do this. And then Anthony Miller did exactly what they said he was going to do. And Javon Wims, ironically enough, dropped the biggest play of the game for a flea flicker touchdown.
You know, I've seen a lot of this in the chat today about, CJ Gardner-Johnson and the penalties and, some discipline issues with, not getting himself in those situations. I actually looked at the stats. Since 2022, only 5 penalties for CJ Gardner-Johnson. So this is something he cleaned up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like penalties with play. You're worried about the after the whistle stuff. And he's typically the one that can instigate others, as we've learned here in Chicago, to get the penalty on them. But I think Ben Johnson will also have a low tolerance for any kind of extracurricular activities that go on after the whistle. And we saw how Tyreek Stevenson's really calmed that down here this year. And CJ Gardner-Johnson played under Dennis Allen, played with Ben Johnson as a coach in Detroit. You got Al Harris in the fold. So, and then as we mentioned before, Kevin Byard, some different guys in there that I think will be a healthy room for CJ to enter. And not to mention, this is CJ's 3rd team this year. So if he wants to stick around and play football, fourth
team, yeah.
4th team this year. That's even more.
The old 4 lot. Well, he started with the Eagles. I think that's what they're counting it. Gregory?
Yeah, I'm going to West Lafayette.
I like 8 chances in life, and that's what CJ's getting. ISO Noah, a couple super chats on the way out, $2. Poles did hire Flus. Poles didn't hire Flus, is what you're trying to say. Ted did. Okay, ISO. He was in the system by that point. That's not an unfair point. Another $5 from ISO. Sorry, at work was supposed to say Poles. Okay, didn't hire Flus. Ted did, I remember, because I said who picks the coach before the GM and the Bears. ISO, you spent extra money to correct yourself. That is elite. Yes, beautiful. I did go with the green cup today. Jaquellin's watching the show right now. Do you have anything you'd like to say to Jaquellin?
No.
That's not nice. She's so supportive of you. I mean, pillow talk, I rip on you, and she's like, he's really a great guy and really makes your life better. And now look what you just did. Apologize.
I'm sorry.
All right. Wrapping up the show, very important to note.
Oh, God.
That the Cincinnati Bengals coming in this week, they're 3-5. Mm-hmm. Do you know why that's relevant, Greg?
Because the Commanders are also 3-5, and Commanders fans are losers.
Interesting turn. Not exactly sure where that came from. Well, as you know, Greg, or should know, I'm also 3-5. After a huge win last night over Kirschenbaum, I was 0-4. Now I've won 3 of 4 as we head into the tennis playoffs. Shout out the Midtown Athletic Club. And sipping on this coffee in this green cup to celebrate my battle. Won the first set 6-2. Was up 2-0 in the second set. Gregory we were heading towards a rout.
Okay.
And it just turned on me. Lost the set 6-4.
Okay.
And then I had to head to the stalls / the water fountain just to regroup and say to myself, Carm, you've been here many times before. No problem. 10-point tiebreaker. You got this. Okay. And we just came out of the gates, got up 3-0, lost the next 3. It's 3-3.
Yeah.
Momentum had stalled. Switch courts after 6 points. As you know, that's the tiebreaker etiquette.
Of course.
Go down to the other end, win the next 5, 8-3, and then finish it off from there, 10-5.
There you go.
Yeah.
More importantly, I got my garage organized, my shed. Thank you, Sarah. That's a big one.
Hey, I'm on leaf detail, buddy.
Mowed my lawn, got my shed organized for the winter, got my garage organized. Junior still wants me to give him your number.
Give me his number. I want to talk to Junior. Rogue Agent for the win, by the way. Congrats on the win, Carm. I was hoping that you lost in straight sets. That's Rogue Agent. You're entering Pizzatola land. Carm, can you talk up Caleb in the voice of an Irish MJ?
What? Don't. Statler.
Certainly, Caleb. The potential is
Irish MJ.
I can't do Irish. Is evident in numerous fashions. So you have to.
We have a hard out.
Maintain
In 10 seconds.
the belief in that talent and let it manifest itself to its full proliferation.
See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.